combined arms assault. At 2 p.m., just as Egypt attacked the Suez, 5 Syrian divisions, armed with some 900 T-62 and T-55 tanks, swarmed toward the Purple Line. They faced just 2 Israeli brigades that were stretched across the length of the front, armed with less than 150 tanks. The southern Golan was defended by the men of the Barak Brigade, a unit that was almost completely wiped out on the first day of battle. Israel's elite 7th Armored Brigade held the north. The 77th Battalion of 7th Armored was commanded by then Lieutenant Colonel Avigdor Kahalani. Kahalani and his 24 tanks bore the brunt of the attack on the northern Golan, in the area now called the Valley of Tears.
We saw them arrive from the east, crossing the border, crossing the anti-tank ditches, and crossing the minefield. We saw the lights, the infrared lights, and they crossed the border and they arrived very close to our tanks. They used the night very well. In the south of the Golan Heights, they captured, after 24 hours, most of the Golan Heights. The brigade that we had over there, they couldn't stop them and they captured all the area. In my area, I've decided to shoot all over the night, just the direction to the east, to give them the feeling that we are there and we know they are coming, but we couldn't really hit their tanks. It's all over the first night. We just play with them, we couldn't hit them.
We waited the entire night in ambush, after we fought all day. At night we stayed awake, and we just waited and waited to see where the shots would come from, and waited to see where the flashes were coming from so we could find our mortars. Suddenly the tanks in our platoon were attacked by their bazookas.
In southern Golan, the survivors of the Barak Brigade fought a doomed battle against 3 Syrian divisions. A brigade raced to their rescue, led by then Colonel Ori Or.
The first and the second days of the Yom Kippur War were the most difficult days of my life. I needed more time, because if I had more time, it would be another platoon, another company, another tank to accumulate forces for defense. That heavy feeling I had on that first day, the second day, that I don't have the sufficient power to face the Syrians. And it came to expression in the most difficult battle I've had. It was the Battle of Nafach.
We were surprised because already in Nafach, we saw Syrian tanks right in front of us, firing at us. Actually, the first time, I felt like it was a real war, not just an exercise like we were used to, was when I saw that on my left and right, friends were getting hit and killed, tanks were getting hit and catching fire, and a lot of the battalion soldiers of our company were dead.
Ori Or split his brigade of 40 tanks into 2, sending a small force to attack head-on, while a larger force snuck up from behind. It was a classic armor maneuver that enabled Or's small force to overpower the Syrians.
This battle lasted about 4, 5, up to 8 hours if I add up everything. The end of the battle was that we actually stopped that brigade, destroyed most of it. We narrowed the defense line and the Syrians did not reach Nafach again. A large part of the company commanders were wounded. Some of them got killed. One died later on, and I will never forget for the rest of my life that night that we sent infantry to collect the wounded left in the field from the tanks that got hit. I rebuilt the entire brigade's crew all over again.
I found myself with 25 meters in front of my tanks. I met 3 T-62, and the 3 commanders looked straight to my eyes, and I was alone. And I jumped to my tank and I moved the main gun to the right tank, and I screamed on my gunner to shoot immediately, and he couldn't see the target because it was so close to his telescope, and he saw just a green line a green color in the face. And he asked me so many questions, what is the range and why we are shooting. And the first time I found why the designer designed the gunner will sit very close to your legs. And of course I kick him, and he shoot. And I moved the gun to the second tank, and he shoot again, and I moved the gun to the third one, and he was ready to shoot me. And something happened with the empty shell, and the last moment we shoot first. It was really, it's like a knife battle. It's never happened in our history to shoot so close. Usually you shoot 3 kilometers, 2 kilometers far, but no so close.
In the first engagement, there is no question of who hit whom. We hit them hard, and it was really a contest among the tank soldiers who could knock out more tanks. My tank, in the first battle, knocked out only 15 tanks. That was very little in relation to how many the battalion knocked out. On Saturday night, the night of Yom Kippur, we counted the number of blazes. We stopped counting at 80.
Don't think too much. It's so fast, and I have to do it like the Western story, Western movie, in like a Bill Carter or a John Wayne. It's almost same. You have to shoot very fast, and to try to hit all of them. You're so scared. You don't think. You hit and again and again and again.
This is the Banat Yaakov Bridge, spanning the River Jordan. On the night of October 7th, a Syrian division reached this bridge and paused. Before them lay an undefended road that could take them straight into the heart of Israel. But to the division commander, it looked too good to be true. Knowing a perfect spot for an ambush when he saw one, he stopped his advance and waited for dawn. This gave the Israelis just enough time to send troops up to stop him. After the war, the Syrian commander was executed for his poor judgment. The fighting in the Golan Heights went on day and night, non-stop. The IDF tradition of armor commanders leading their forces into battle, typically standing in the turrets of their tanks, resulted in heavy losses amongst the leadership. Almost all the tank commanders under Colonel Kahalani died in battle.
We have a prayer in Jewish prayer in the morning that everybody say that thank you God that you didn't make me a woman. But during the combat, you sometimes want to change the prayer. It means that you prefer not to be there. It's really a bad situation. You can see many of your friends were killed. And from my experience, I can tell you that I didn't try to think about that. I saw them, I saw what happened to them, and I closed my eyes and looked to the enemy to try to identify who is going to kill me now, and I tried to kill him first.
I saw on the roadside one of our soldiers lying down, seriously wounded. Then I was in a very serious and difficult dilemma. I was torn between the decision to get out of the tank, take him, turn around with the tank, and evacuate him because he was wounded, or to go on with my mission, drive on in order to block. And I remind you, we were in the situation of blocking the Syrians. And then I decided to stop the tank. Behind me were 2 or 3 more tanks, but I stopped the tank. I got out with the canteen, and I gave the fellow some water. He grabbed my hand, grabbed me hard, and yelled in Hebrew, "Hanan, help me, take me away from here, because I'm wounded." He was severely wounded. At least one leg was blown away, and he was bleeding. The fact he called me Hanan increased my dilemma even more, because he knew me. I could not recognize him because he was so badly wounded. Eventually, I forcefully broke myself off from him, from his strong hold of my hand. I got on my tank and continued. I continued, understanding knowing that I made the right decision.